Hello, my name is Rachel Costello, and my presentation is on digital photo books and digital scrapbooking. So some of the uses of digital photo books and digital scrapbooking are listed here. The first of which is that all of these sites can be used as storytelling devices. So there are ways in which students can tell a story in many different disciplines and in many different content areas. They can do this by using images that they find online or by taking their own images. Also, these websites can be used for storyboards. And I think storyboards are a really great pre-writing activity for students. They get them to think about what they want to do before they start doing it, especially when it comes to filming or even photography. These sites can absolutely be used as ways of doing photo documentaries, which would be really great in a social studies classroom or even an English classroom. Some of the sites that I've looked at have formats that you can use, where it can be a newspaper format or even an actual scrapbook format. And again, that could be used in I think all content areas really. Even science and math could definitely use those formats. And lastly, these sites are really good ways of sharing your own personal experiences. I kind of imagine an activity in my mind where students could use these websites as a way of showcasing what they did over the summer. So they're not just doing a presentation, they're not just telling you, they're not just writing a paper, but they're visually telling a story about how they spent their summer. The first website I looked at was Shutterfly. And Shutterfly is a really creative way of displaying your photos. They have lots of different formats available for you to use and lots of different themes. So it's a good way of displaying photos but also making them look pretty and making them look fancy, and using a theme that's education or using a theme that's about traveling. The website does provide free photo storage, so you can store as many photos as you want for free. You can also share the photos very easily. One of the great things about Shutterfly is that you don't have to have an account to view photos that someone else has put together. I'm signed up to be a user on Shutterfly, and I have a URL that I could just send out to my friends and family for them to look at some of the photos that I've uploaded. Like I was saying, they have a lot of really great formats, one of which is for digital scrapbooking. So lots of kids like to scrapbook at home, and this is a way to scrapbook online. There's this really great spell check feature with Shutterfly as well, where if you are putting in a comment on one of your photos and you misspell a word, Shutterfly will make you go back and relook at that word before you finish editing your comment, which for educational purposes is really great. And then lastly, commenting. You are able to comment, collaborate, share your opinions with the things that you see on Shutterfly. Some of the cons is that Shutterfly does a lot of upselling. They want you to actually purchase those photo books that you make or those scrapbooks they make. They want you to order prints. They want you to have an upgraded membership. So you can still use the site without doing that, but it can get a little annoying from time to time. I also found that the loading time was a little less than ideal with Shutterfly as compared to some of the other sites I looked at. I wouldn't say that the loading time was so bad that I wouldn't recommend using it, but it is something to consider. Also, the photo formatting was a little finicky in some of the sites that I looked at, especially with the scrapbooking option of uploading photos. Sometimes it would distort the photos, or it would just mess with the way that the photo looked originally. And lastly, some of the formats and themes that they provide are a little rigid. So if you want to make something look like a newspaper article, you're going to have to use the formats that they provide. You're not able to manipulate where the text goes or where all the photos go. And just to give you guys a visual of what some of these sites look like, I put together little presentations from each site. So this one is from Shutterfly. And what's really great is that you can just go in here directly from the URL that's provided. So you don't have to have a membership on Shutterfly to see this. And this is about a trip that I took to Paris. So we'll just really quickly look at some of the photos that I displayed. And as you can tell, this is obviously from the scrapbook format that I was talking about. And I use this because I think that students would really, really like it. It's just something that's a little fun. And then on the next page here, you can see how it distorted the photo on the left a little bit. It's not as crisp and clear as it should be. And I'm not quite sure why it did that. I mean, I put a horizontal picture in where it wanted one, but... So this is just an idea of some of the options that you have available with you on Shutterfly. All right, the next site we are going to look at now is Imgur. This is a site that I had never used before, and I was pretty excited to look into it because I have seen it used before. Some of the pros include that it is incredibly user-friendly. This site was so easy to use. I didn't really have to think at all about how to upload pictures or what to do. It's completely free. An upgraded account is available, but I didn't see any need for it. I was able to do everything I wanted on the site. What's cool about Imgur is that you can do blog-style postings as well, so that gets students thinking about digital photo books and also about social media at the same time. This site definitely stresses commenting, collaborating, and sharing your photos. And lastly, there's a large community of users. A lot of people are using Imgur, and a lot of young people are using it too, so I think it would really appeal to students. Some of the cons include that storage is temporary on this site. Now, technically speaking, if you post something and nobody looks at it for 6 months, it can be deleted. Also, there is a photo limit of up to 250 photos that can be displayed at one time. Now, Imgur will keep your photos in your account once they're uploaded, but you will only be able to display 250 to the public. Of course, if you upgrade your account, that's a little bit different. Imgur can be distracting because there are lots of users on here, and you can upgrade and downgrade photos based on their popularity. It is uncensored, and like I said before, a lot of young people are using it, so you can kind of use your imagination about some of the things that might be available there. And it has less frills. It's not going to be as pretty, or it's not going to be as fancy as the previous site that we looked at, but it's still very user-friendly. And then this is just a little something that I created. Again, you don't have to log in. You can just look at this as a regular person who doesn't have an account there. And this is a blog style posting that I did about my trip to Berlin. And you can just scroll down. You can see that I've put titles up at the top and then some captions on the bottom. And on the right side here, you have different thumbnails where I could click and go back and forth. So this is just a really, really great site to use. And there are different layouts too. You don't have to do it like this. You could do it where you see each image one at a time. But I liked this because it was a lot different than some of what the other sites had available. All right, now we'll look at Flickr. Flickr considers itself an online photo management and sharing application. Some of the pros to this site that are a little bit different from the others is that it does have a mobile app. And this was the first site that I went on to that was really trying to market their mobile app. As soon as I went onto their site, that was one of the first things that I saw. It is free, and it's very easily used when it's free. Again, an upgraded account is available, but I don't think it's necessary. Flickr has the option to tag photos. So if I take a picture of the beach and I tag it as the beach, then other users can go to the site and they can search beach and any public photos will come up. Again, commenting, collaboration, sharing is available on this site, and it is definitely used a lot. And the other really great thing about Flickr is that you can upload videos as well. It's not just about photos. And that was, again, one of the first sites I saw that did photo sharing as well as video sharing. The cons. This was not one of the most user-friendly sites that I went to. I had some issues working the site a little bit as somebody who wasn't familiar with it. One of the other cons is that I had to link up with Yahoo in order to get to the site. So once I put in my email and once I made my account, I was sort of forced to hook up with Yahoo because Flickr is owned by Yahoo. That's not that big of a deal, but you are sharing your information with another company or another group. Again, there are less frills to this site, and it seemed like it had the less options compared to the other two that we looked at. And here's just a sample of what some things look like. And this is just the more traditional style of being able to go through and look at things from this sort of standpoint where it's just one photo at a time. One of the things that's not so great is that these pictures do have captions, but they don't come up when you view them like this. You would have to view them one at a time to see the captions that I put in, and that seems like a really silly feature to have. And then lastly, the last thing I looked at was Picasa. And this is a little bit different than some of the other sites that I've looked at. Picasa considers itself to be an image organizer, viewer, and editor. It is owned by Google. And this is a program or an application that you have to download onto your computer. So it is very different than some of the other sites that we just looked at. The pros are that it is absolutely 100% free. You don't have to buy anything, you don't have to upgrade to anything. What you see is what you get. It integrates very well with Photoshop and with iPhoto. Because Picasa is owned by Google, it syncs up with your Google Plus account, so any photos that you have on Google Plus will be on Picasa. It has a face recognition service, so if you are uploading pictures from Google Plus and some of the people in your photos are Google Plus members, then it will recognize them. And much like Facebook, it has the option again where you can tag people in different photos, and you can do different tags based on what the type of photo is. And best of all, it automatically uploaded everything. So as soon as I downloaded this application onto my computer, it went through and immediately downloaded all the photos that I had onto Picasa. It's also really great for editing photos. It's almost like Instagram in that way, where you can manipulate the way that a photo looks pretty significantly. Another pro that I didn't list here, but is really great to think about, is that you're able to back things up sort of unknowingly. So if I were to upload a photo and edit it, and then decide I did a terrible job editing it, but I've already saved it and the original's gone, Picasa actually has a folder of original photos that it always holds on to. So even if you manipulate photos or if you edit photos, they are always secretly saved in this file that's called original photos. Some of the cons, like I said, it is a program, so you do have to download it. So thinking about how this would be used in schools, it would have to be downloaded onto any laptops or desktops that students are using. Another one of the cons is that sharing doesn't work so well with this site. Obviously, if you want to share it with people in Google+, it's very easy. If you want to email some photo books that you've put together, it's easy, but you can't just give people a direct URL like you could do with some of the other sites. Again, there are far less frills than some of the other sites. However, it does have some fun options to play around with that I will show you. Alright, and let me come back here and I will show you Picasa. So this is about a trip that I took to Chincoteague, Virginia. Whoops. And what I did here is I actually put a collage together that you can look at. And I think that this would be really fun for students. You could play around with the borders that are here. They don't necessarily have to be white, but I liked the white ones. And I was able to tilt the photos as I want and manipulate them as I want and make them different sizes. This would be really great as a way of doing away with traditional things that we have in school where students have to, cut the pictures out of the collage and paste them together. This allows them to do it all digitally. So you could imagine that they could very easily go online and find photos that they like and put them together in a collage. And then much like the other websites, it does have ways of making photo albums and just viewing them as well, but we've seen a lot of those today. So I figured the collage was something a little bit different. So that's all I've got for you guys for digital photo books and digital storybooks in the classroom. I hope some of these sites have been useful for you and you can think about ways to use them in your own classroom. Thanks.